Hello, my name is Shudley and welcome back for another episode of Vicky 3 as Finland. In previous episode we did manage to get the Home Affairs done, or the National Guard already instituted. We could actually, probably could get the level 2 in there if we really want to. But I'm actually going to hold off a little bit to make sure that we've got some extra bureaucracy, because we are going to need some of that for the various buildings. Now, we could admittedly sell a few things, but the risk is there that the Russians are going to just buy all of that. Now, admittedly, let's actually have a look at over here. So we've got 6 million in the investment pool. Oh, we've got coal shortage, and, okay. Egypt got independence. Good on them, I suppose. Good on them. We've got a bit of shortage of engines, but I believe we might be importing some of that soon. At least I'm hoping that we will be. I don't know if we will. Of course, we will be producing some of that in the not-too-distant future either. Like, we'll just get the arms industry done first, and we'll be getting a bit of railways at the same time, but then we'll get the motor industries, then the steel mill, which doesn't mean that we'll need some coal afterwards, but that's alright. And then we'll get another trade center over here, just in case. And then the railway in the capital, and then building up our colony a little bit, and then finally is increasing our military a tiny bit. Now, it's not going to be a whole lot of increase there, but it's still better than nothing. But yeah, having the millet farm in here does definitely reduce the... Well, it doesn't reduce the starvation that much necessarily, actually. And mostly I think the starvation is because there's so much unemployment, and I reckon they are probably migrating, some of them. No, they're not really migrating away yet. I suppose that's partially because our laws probably don't allow them to migrate, do they? Let's see, migration controls. Yeah, they're quite restrictive. It's not quite closed borders, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that is still reducing the likelihood of them moving around. Also, the tenant farmers. Ah, right, that's another thing. Homesteading I would love to get, but I don't think we'll be able to get that right now. Oh, election season. Oh, looks like the Finnish party is, well, it's about the same as we had at the last election. The sort of starting position, so not the worst, but definitely not the best either. Ooh, open markets. Yeah, we'll boost the young Finnish party. That's now 25% of the votes, which is still not a whole lot, but hey, it's still better than nothing. And I suppose, I don't know, we can't switch the voting laws yet. We don't have any support for it, unfortunately. And now let's have a look at the... Right, we're not actually supporting any of the political movements right now either. Never mind. I suppose one of the things that we could do is remove the road maintenance down here. I'm going to put in the agriculture industry boost in the Niger Delta. Now, we only got that one farm, but at the same time, that 20% boost over there is already going to be a decent increase in food availability. And there is actually some food available right now in there. Of course, it's mostly about the employment, though. Again, there's more unemployed than there are peasants. And that is the biggest problem there right now. I do actually wonder, is there any immigration coming in here? No, not really. There probably could be, but there isn't right now. Let me double check. How is the small arms? Is it in high demand in the market or low demand? Actually, it's pretty low demand right now. In which case, we're going to go ahead and put that down on the list a little bit and get the motor industry and steel mill first. Those are probably going to be much more important. And then let's, also the arms industry. I suppose, no, we don't have the rifles unlocked yet. Yeah. Never mind. Never mind. But while it would reduce some of the costs, it's not necessarily going to be that much. Also, do we have, well, we've still got quite a bit of peasants available in here. We've got 4 levels of iron mine. Well, not quite enough, I'm afraid. We've got the 4 levels over here, which we... Oh, actually, is there room for... No, we're lacking a bit in infrastructure right now. Never mind then. And we do have the one level of construction sector there. I wonder if I should put one over here in the north, perhaps. Because we are going to have a lot of iron mines up here at some point. Just haven't started building that yet. I don't suppose there's any... No foreign queues right now. Good to know. But yeah, so we are still quite a while away from the motor industries. But if we can get that going, we'll also need, of course, the steel. But steel we might be able to import briefly. And then start producing ourselves, of course, as soon as that second factory is built. But that way we can start making sure that those railways will actually be operational. A torrent of gin and beer. No beer, no vote. We could reduce the momentum of the Finnish party. Which, honestly, that's fine. So that means 27% for the young Finnish party already. Which is still not, like, a huge amount, but we're slowly getting there to the point where they might actually be able to get into government. And looks like there's not going to be a whole lot of options for... Oh, actually, let's go and improve... Oh, wait, no, I don't think we're going to improve relations with the Ottomans right now. I'm sure that Austria's got... actually, let's have a look. Did you have your... Right, you've got Treaty of Holy Alliance. So they got a non- or defensive pact, I guess. Yeah, they got a defensive pact. I'm still going to go ahead and improve relations with Austria. Who knows, maybe we can eventually turn them against the Russians. Similarly, we can probably do that with the Prussians. Unlikely they will be able to get their support into the independent stuff quite yet, but perhaps eventually they'll have a bit of falling apart in their relations anyway, and then we can hopefully get independence. Now, we'll see how that goes, mind you. As the population is still slowly increasing, we've got 1.9 million. Admittedly, about 270,000 is down here still. Growing very, very, very slowly. Although, yeah, there's over 2 million in there, so that's part of the reason why it's so darn expensive. Or slow, because it's just a large population that we're trying to settle. And I suppose another thing, of course, is since we're using the colonial resettlement, it means that it's... Oh, right, okay. The Finnish party's still got about 2/3 of the votes. Actually, right now, this is 100 legitimacy, so we can probably hold on to that. Now, is there any laws that we might want to pass right now, or rather can pass right now? Not really. Okay, well, that solves the question then, I suppose. A little over a week away. Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of considering that perhaps we'll just go out and get a construction sector over here. Gonna get us to 25 total, so that's at least 12 and a half. That also means that the railways are going to be built a bit faster, although I suppose building the railways faster before we have the motor industries probably won't help that much. I'm sure that there's still going to be some use for it, I guess. They're still importing the dyes in here. And I guess there's not enough capacity in use right now, so we're not utilizing most of it. And thus, it's actually still making a deficit right now, which is not ideal. But we've got a decent cash reserves right now, so we can definitely afford increasing the construction speed, even though the construction cost might go up quite a bit for a while. But honestly, just getting that is still going to be quite handy. Now, what do we have actually in here? Oh, that's probably the iron mines, actually. Oh, gold discovered in the Ural Mountains. Alright then. Ooh. There's a bit of downpour. Oh, actually, is that... Ah, yeah, there's a bit of flooding over here in Russia. Well, luckily it's on their side of the border, not on my side. There we go, so now that we've got the construction sector, I'm sure that that will speed up the process a bit further. Now, it's, okay, it wasn't built quite yet, but now it is. So we've still got, well, it's still probably going to be quite a while to build this, actually. I guess we are now getting, oh yeah, there we go, 51. So it's still about a year to get that motor industries done. We've got 2.5 million GDP. How much do the Russians actually have? 34. So their GDP hasn't grown all that massively either. Like, comparatively speaking, ours has grown a lot. A lot more than theirs, but it's still not ideal. Are they still supporting our regime? They are, okay. If they weren't, then we would actually be gaining liberties, sire. Oh, the economic dependence has dropped down. Is that because, well, I suppose the GDP, they own a bit less of our GDP now. The GDP difference is still massive, so that is still quite a huge chunk there. And then I suppose the unfulfilled finished buy orders, that's still about the same. I wonder actually, how much is that? So, oh, right, so it's only 60,000 pounds worth. And then if we have a look at over here, we are getting... Oh, it's 19. Okay. No, but the weekly gross domestic product is 48,000. So that's why it's a bit larger. Whereas for theirs, it's 2/3 of a billion a week. So yeah, that's quite a difference. But that makes sense. Okay, so we just need to slowly increase our GDP. I suppose once we get more of the railways, I'm sure that that's going to get easier and easier. Oh, Denmark is colonizing down here as well. Well, they're going on the other side. Okay, as long as we just have this for a little bit of the dyes and all that, I would like to get a bit of the extension over here. Oh, I think that actually sped up the colony speed. Now, how quickly is the... Oh, okay, the Danes are still having the same issue, so it's not going to be colonized very quickly, this area. Which actually, I'm okay with that. Looks like the literature rate is still improving quite nicely. We might need to get some more universities as well. Honestly, I'm going to go and build a university up here because we've got the paper mill up here. And that paper mill, well, yeah, it could still be quite worthwhile to upgrade as well. Although that might also be something that the private sector will build. Oh, oh right, they're building the railway now. Let's go ahead and move that. And then what are they building? The shipyard and also the bottom yard? Okay. We're building a lot of ships. Are we, we're not probably the, nowhere near the highest producer of, clippers, admittedly. Let's have a look at the list here. We might be the biggest producer in Russia. Well, not yet. Always in the first, or the shared first place, though. But yeah, I suppose we'll be eventually taking over the most of the clipper production. If we look at the low world market, yeah, we're not even in the top 10 yet in the clipper producing. But once we get the third shipyard, we might actually be fairly close to it. Of course, another thing is once we get the engines, we could technically speaking use the reinforced wooden ships to get even more production. But I'd rather not do that quite yet. But yeah, so we still got another 34 weeks for the motor industries. And after that, there's the steel mill, the arms industry, trade center, railway, and then the Niger Delta stuff. But right now, it's starvation is still pretty bad. It's getting better. Because one thing that I could do is I could provide some of the emergency relief. Less tax collection, food security would be improved, more infrastructure. We'll do that. It's probably going to be a bit costly. But at the same time, maybe that will improve the... Okay, there's still some starvation. I'm hoping that it's going to be slightly less. Because the population is still going down because, yeah, there's just a lot of unemployment and they're not allowed to move either because of the tenant farmer stuff. So that is a bit of a complication. The Val scandal. Let's actually have a look at the church. You currently have a theocrat. One state religion, corporate state, and theocracy. I'm going to force him to step down. Now we've got a royalist. Well, because at least that does mean that we might, in theory, be able to switch. Oh, there's the wealth voting now. Who's supporting that? The armed forces are. Initially, it might not have a whole lot of support. That would make landowners very upset, but at the same time, that would reduce the landowners' influence probably even further. Although, well, kind of. Oh, it's 25 wealth threshold. Okay. So, yeah, it's mostly the rich people that would be voting, which I suppose won't really change too much right now. You know what? I'm gonna hold off on changing that law. Could you try to just change the... Oh, never mind. Freedom of conscience. I mean, even if we tried to do that, that would be met with a whole lot of resistance, thanks to the clergy. I mean, they're neutral, but I suppose there's also... Oh. Right, technically speaking, our ruler. The Tsar is also traditionalist, so no, that's not going to be happening right now then. Alright then. Yeah, I guess the colonizing over here is going to be very, very slow. Until we get the quinine, which admittedly, well, we're still actually quite a far away, aren't we? We are getting the baking powder soon though, and that's going to mean even more food, or groceries, which that is actually going to be very handy. And we're also getting the canneries already by the tech spread, which that is another good thing, but that's going to allow us to use the cannery, so we can start using fish, for example, to make even more groceries. And I think we are probably going to use mostly the fish, because we will have access to a decent bit of fish, thanks to all the coastline that we have. I'm okay with that. The standard of living is back above 10 average. And yeah, the pop growth isn't a whole lot right now either. How's the world looking like? Oh, Swiss are having a bit of revolt there. Alright then. America, oh, okay, America's taken quite a bit of land from Mexico, including the Rio Grande. Alright then. I haven't taken, I guess Idaho and Oregon and Washington quite yet from Columbia District. Looks like India, oh, right, yeah. India's, well, rather, British Russia is definitely expanding in here. China is still fairly strong. We've got, of course, Korea there still. Like, Australia slowly colonizing. How's South... Alright, yeah, Cape Colony is slowly increasing. They haven't taken Zulu's or Angel Transvaal quite yet. Sure, they will eventually, but it's just they haven't gotten around to that quite yet. Unless we've got some convoy, so how much do we actually need? None. Okay. Which is a few weeks away from getting the motor industry. Now, how is the market looking like for steel? I'm gonna guess probably not very good. Good thing about the steel, of course, is once we do get the steel mill in here, it's gonna allow us to, first of all, is gonna providing some steel for the entire market, which means that if the Russians are starting to use any steel, they're gonna be using our steel. Not really a whole lot, but it's potentially useful at least. And another thing, of course, is we're going to start using the steel tools over here, which means that we'll be able to provide even more tools and cheaper tools. Or cheaper to produce, hopefully. Oh, attitude with the Ottomans is going down. Well, that's not good. Don't have a whole lot of influence to use right now. I'm pretty sure that Britain is also not really willing to support our independence right now. Nope, I don't think we'll be able to get anyone to support our independence currently. On the bright side, the Russians, even though they could have probably done that, they have not reduced our autonomy either. It could actually be that we need to be like below 10 points before they do that. But we need to prepare for the possibility that we'll be turned into a puppet soon. And the Russification will begin. There we go, we've got the motor industries. So now we just need to get some steel in here, which is going to take a little while. Oh, and we'll also get some coal. Actually, what do we need the coal for? Oh, it's the railways, right, okay. Yeah, until we get the steel production in the state, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of production in there. That being said, what are we importing currently? You know what, I'm going to privatize these. Maybe we'll improve the throughput as well slightly. Oh, shell gun unlocked. There we go, so there's a smooth bore for artillery and breech-loading artillery is something that we're going to research now. So, steel shortage. I'm sincerely hoping that we'll start importing some, but I don't know if we will. I don't know, actually, let's have a look. How is the world market looking like for that? Steel. Sure, there's some. Well, there's a bit of shortage right now, so it might be a bit of difficult. Oh, actually, hold on a minute. Go back there, so there's 70 imports. Okay, so Russia is the only exporter of steel right now. Good to know. There might still be a little bit of oh, right, so actually, yeah, no, that -2 over here actually does mean that it's well, there's a slightly more being exported than imported. Yeah, there's still a whole lot of iron and steel shortage right now. Of course, we need about another year for the steel mill to be built. We're also losing quite a bit of money because the construction costs are through the roof. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that if we can... Oh, there's the baking powder. Right, well, I suppose we'll actually just want to go over here and switch both of these to use the baking powder. So that's even more groceries being produced, which is very nice. Well, it's the field works that are spreading. Oh, and now we're getting the modern sewers. That is going to be very nice because... Oh, and the labor movement is almost done. There we go. I wonder, actually, is there... No, there's not a whole lot of things that we can change here. So in relation, there's just so much opposition for it, so it's not going to happen. The voting... I mean, oh, there's no opposition for the wealth voting right now. There's not like a huge report for it either, but I think we could actually try to go for that. Perhaps we can slowly shift away from the landowners focused stuff. Now, we did lose the landowners boost over there, which, yeah, investment for... I mean, there's still 8 million in there. And we got 2.8 million in GDP. We're number 32 right now. Let's actually have a look at the ledger for a moment. Okay, so we're just behind, or a little bit behind Lower Canada. We're just a little bit behind Lower Canada. And of course, Saxony. We are a bit ahead of Sokoto, at least. We don't have a whole lot of prestige yet, but I suppose, actually, where do we get our prestige from? Tech, we got some power production, GDP, that's about it. We're not leading producer or anything yet. But we might be a fairly good producer of steel later on. Although we might want to get the steel mills up in here as well, because there's so much iron mines in here that we can utilize. There's quite a bit in Kuopio as well. Well, it's 11, so it's not actually that much. But there's a decent starting location, because we already had one in there, so we can build that up a little bit further, and then later on switch that around a little bit. But that's alright. So we're still not, yeah, not really growing all that quickly down here, unfortunately. So the railway in Oulu is almost complete. After that, it's going to be another shipyard. Then after that, I don't actually know. It's the logging camp in West Karelia. Okay. Sure. I suppose it's, I guess there is demand for some wood. I mean, yeah, I suppose the shipyard doesn't require some, doesn't it? We could also perhaps go ahead and consider putting the hardwood production in here, just to reduce the hardwood sort of cost in here locally even further. I mean, it's not particularly bad cost right now anyway, but I think we can reduce that even further here for the time being, and thus reducing the cost for the man of wars. That actually reminds me, we might want to go ahead and expand our fleet a little bit. I'll go ahead and build another frigate. But one frigate over there and one over there. So kind of spread it out a little bit. And then perhaps we'll go ahead and get one capital ship as well. So that will have a total of 5 ships, which is, again, fairly small. But it is still at least a slight increase, and thus might also make it just that tiny bit more likely that someone will be willing to support us in our quest for independence. Let's see how it goes, though. Alright, so we've got that road maintenance that we can move around here now, so we'll build that shipyard slightly faster. I mean, at this point, the 10% boost, it is at least, actually, how much is that? 1 point something that we get extra, it's not a huge amount. That'll still be worthwhile, though. I guess it would be like 1.25, ideally, but that might not always be the case. Oh dear, we've got some dire workers. Okay, we'll get mortality or trade unions to get some power. You know what? We'll start getting the trade unions into a bit of prominence. They won't be appearing quite yet, I don't think. Or they won't be influential quite yet, but somewhere down the line, sure. Oh. Right. Okay, so we're supporting Belgium, I guess. In theory. In practice, less so. Our liberty desire is still drifting downwards. I don't think there's still anyone that I could request support for independence from either. Ooh, technical talents. Despite the prowess of French engineers and academics, the technically inclined industrialists have begun to align themselves with the Finnish-French Association. Ooh. Sure. Now, let's see. The world voting, how's that going to go? Oh, debate success. Well, I'll take that. Now we've got 6 teams in chance of going forward. Still about half a year, actually a bit more than half a year for the steel mill. Right. Oh, they're building an arms industry in Ostrobothnia. I mean, we've got an arms industry underway already, so that might be a bit of a waste, but I suppose actually during wartime there's still probably quite a bit of demand for it, right? A little bit, but yeah. Oh, right, there is a lot of imports from Prussia that are happening, so there is a potential to kind of replace some of the imports by producing some of that stuff ourselves, which would then reduce the economic dependence. Although right now we're still back to 3.1 modifier in here, which, yeah, that's pretty rough. Now, the Russian GDP is definitely increasing faster than ours. Although we're currently building a lot of things that take a long while to build and not necessarily having a huge impact on the GDP yet. But in the long run, it will, like especially the railways and things like that, they will facilitate a decent growth later on for the or through the extra infrastructure and all that. But beyond that, it's a little bit limited, of course. We've got a bit of deficit. We could always increase taxes if need be, or put in another consumption tax. Problem is, the only thing that would be even remotely valuable would be the tea tax. And even that is only like 260. I don't suppose we have low taxation. No, I don't think we have low taxation right now. On any way. Population is not really an issue in most of our states, let's put it that way. Oh, right, building the steel mill over there. Let's put in the road maintenance up there then. And we've got the road maintenance, yeah. So we've got the road maintenance in these 3 states right now. That will allow us to build the steel mill a bit faster. We should have moved that so long time ago. Would have probably saved us a few weeks. Oh, groceries are expensive right now, which probably means that our food industry, oh yeah, is making a killing in here. As #1 food industry in the world. Well, well, well. That's going to be some good groceries right there. Good thing is that we don't have a whole lot of radicals yet. Standard of living has been somewhat stable. I would like to see it go up a little bit further, but it's not the end of the world, even if it doesn't. Ooh, low progress of consideration, there we go. Well, only 16%, 16.5% to be fair. But it's still fairly low chances there. Hey, calories done. Okay. So, that's going to require a bit more iron, which is no doubt going to be a problem, but let's start doing some canned fish, shall we? So that's going to actually, it's not really going to be that much more profitable. But it will increase the amount of groceries. It's going to require a bit of iron, which is going to be the big cost in there. And it will also mean that there's going to be a bit more grain available. There we go, so that should... I don't know if that's going to actually make it even more profitable. I think it is, actually. It's more than 100% productivity compared to average food industries. Oh, never mind. Now, as the production increases and the demand for iron is added in, it's not as good. We might want to get the extra iron mine over here. Also, what are we... Oh, right, there's the sewage. Then we're going to get the corporate charter, so we might actually get a company or corporation somewhere. I think we'll probably go for the iron production. The conglomerate. We don't have level 5 anywhere yet, that's the problem. But we can, well, we can get that in our capital, I suppose, at least. In just 2 weeks for the steel mill. Almost there. And then we'll be the first ones to produce steel. And we'll probably go ahead and start producing some of the steel tools pretty much soon. As soon as that is starting to produce at least some extra. Alright, so we can now move the road maintenance away from there. Well, I suppose we'll call that already in there. We'll move it into... Actually, no, I'm just going to keep that open for now. That's going to allow us to maybe get the wealth voting slightly faster, by saving up a little bit of the authority. We will need a bit more bureaucracy, though. Which I guess we could go ahead and get another government administration. And then perhaps we should also go ahead and get us another paper mill. That seems like it could be quite useful in our capital. There we go, the shipyard is now done. Let's go ahead and move that. Road maintenance. Speed up the process of that logging up. So what's the next thing? Is that still going to be the arms industry? It is, okay. Defensive Corporation level 3. Okay, limited site is still going down, but not a whole lot. But there is a good chance that they will eventually just turn us into a puppet anyway. There's not a whole lot I can do right now, because Russians... somehow have a fairly good relations with most nations. Oh, Russia, they don't... okay, well, they view as a potential friend. But no, they can't support me because they've got some treaties with Russia. I think there's the non-accession pact still there. We're almost to 3 million GDP now. We started at around 1 million, so we're almost triple in the span of about 15 years. Close to 16. Yeah, we'll get the arms industry, then we'll get the trade center. Although I don't know if it's going to be that useful in here, but I suppose probably won't hurt to at least get some of the coal, right? Oh, there we go. Another plus 15% for the wealth voting. It might actually pass eventually. Right, so we needed the steel. Are we actually getting the steel now? Yeah, we're getting some of that. Which means that we can provide some of the engines, which right now aren't in a huge demand yet. I'm going to go ahead and actually... Let me just double check. Do we have production for coal yet, or is that all imports? Oh no, there is a bit of coal mines. Oh, where is that then? Yeah, they got 2 coal mines. Okay, well that means that we can easily... not the steel mill, but the tooling workshop, we can start using the steel tools. Which does mean that there's going to be huge demand for steel immediately, but it does also mean that the steel mill should be able to start hiring a bit more people. And also it means that we won't be using iron directly for the tools either, so it's... you know, in a roundabout way, it will start reducing the amount of stuff required, because I'm pretty sure that this is... Yeah, so it's about 1 unit of iron to 1.5 units of steel. Because the iron mines are still rather profitable, I would say. There we go, the arms industry is about to be done. There we are. Not entirely sure how much of profitability it's going to have, but we shall see. And then we need to move... the road maintenance again. So those 2. Just speed up the construction. But I do see that we are actually out of time for this episode. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll check out the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.